So in the RP unit, we did solve equations in the form of proportions. This is technically an equation because it's two expressions that are equal to each other. So to solve this proportion, we learned how to use cross products to solve, and we'd set up the equation like this, trying not to use an x for a multiplication sign because now we have the x as a variable. And this is one way to write it. You could also rewrite it like this, very algebraically, simplifying the left side and then simplifying the right side as 6x. 6 is the coefficient of x because it's multiplying the variable. So when we talk about coefficient, it's not the coefficient is not the whole entire term 6x. It's just the number 6, which multiplies the variable x. So what we have here is a one-step equation. And back when we were doing this, a lot of you asked if you could show your work differently and not have to show your thinking using formal algebra and inverse operations to solve. And back in that unit, that was a-okay. So a lot of you said, I'm just going to do 3 times 4 and then divide by 6 to get x. Well, now that we're embarking on a new unit here called expressions and equations, which is all algebra, we need to learn how to solve these equations using inverse operations and the formal solve like I'm going to show you here. So what you see here is a variable attached to a number by multiplication, and that is equal to 12. The goal of solving an equation is to isolate or get this x alone. So notice how I'm aligning up my equal signs. I want to leave my x over here on the right side. So I'm going to box that x off. And the goal is to undo any numbers and operations that's along with the variable, whatever side it's on. It happens to be on the right side for this example. So we're going to leave that variable over there on the right side. In order to undo 6 times x, I'm going to use the inverse operation. The inverse of multiplication is division. So using a fraction bar, not a division symbol, I'm going to just divide both sides by 6 because what I can clearly see now is 6 divided by 6, oops, I broke my pencil, is 1. So 6 divided by 6 is 1. So these kind of they basically cancel out to make, on the right side, 1x. And on the left side, we have 2. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So what this is telling us, because 1 times any number is itself, what this is telling us is 2 is equal to x, or x is equal to 2. So if I were to check this and I were to plug that solution back into my equation, this value for the variable x would make this proportion true. And this goes along with what we're going to be learning today.